This world, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier every single day, and there's no sign of it slowing down. The world as I knew it back when I was growing up through the 80s and 90s, it is completely unrecognizable now. And if you're older, I'm sure that it's even more so for you. So, I mean, if that is the case, or if you've noticed this, let me know down in the comments below. The way I see it right now is that it's getting so crazy that I can't even imagine the future 10 or 15 years from now, actually even 5 years from now. As a matter of fact, it's kind of scary to think about because everything's changing so fast and everything is so crazy and out of control that we can't even imagine what the future is going to look like. But things have gotten so crazy as of late that it has people questioning whether or not this is even real life, if we're living in an actual real world. People are asking now, is this a simulation? Or is this AI? That's a big one I keep seeing, is that people are like, oh, this has to be AI. There's no way this is real life. And I think the reason people are thinking that is because things have gotten so crazy and so unrecognizable that our minds almost can't even comprehend it. So the only logic explanation is that it can't be real life. It has to be something else. There has to be another reason for this, because there's no way that reality is actually this crazy. And that's a terrifying thing. And that is the big thing that I keep seeing, is people are like, this has to be AI. Like if you go to videos and stuff online and you look at the comments, you'll see people saying that a lot. As a matter of fact, there's been people that say that about my videos. People actually ask me in the comments on numerous videos, and multiple people ask me if I am AI generated. I don't really understand that. I'm just a regular person, but I think we have lost so much trust in the world around us, in pretty much everything, that we don't even trust the fact that what we're looking at, especially things online, are reality. We just automatically default to it being something completely obscure and completely different. And this is very, very scary, because there's a major problem with this. When we start questioning everything that we see online that might seem a little bit outlandish, or it might seem like it's something that's hard to accomplish, or something that we don't believe is possible, then we are really going to start limiting ourselves. I saw a video the other day that was literally a guy, like a health influencer, standing in the middle of Glacier National Park in front of this beautiful mountain scene, just talking about how we need to reconnect with nature. And look at the scene behind me, it's so beautiful, and there's no EMF here and all this stuff. And I would say that a quarter of the comments were saying that that's a nice green screen, nice AI generated background. And I'm like, have you people not stepped outside? Do you realize that there's a world out there besides the city that is not a concrete jungle? That there are actually mountains and forests and lakes and beautiful things that are natural? It is mind-blowing to me. And that's coming from someone who has hiked in some of the most beautiful regions in the world. And I can tell you that these beautiful places actually do exist. They are not necessarily AI generated or green screens, but that just goes to show you how much trust that we have lost in everything that we see specifically online. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm completely exempt from this, because I've lost trust in pretty much everything too. I think that's just kind of the hand that we're dealt after all the crap we've been through over the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of the stuff that we have dealt with has caused us to lose trust in the world around us, in our fellow man, and in especially the things that we see online, because there's so much stuff out there that is fake, that is geared to push an agenda or a narrative. So it makes sense that we lose trust in those things, but we have pushed ourselves so far down this rabbit hole that we are questioning everything. And I think that's a big problem, because when we question everything, imagine how much that is going to limit us. So let's take, for example, like the 4-minute mile. There was a time when the 4-minute mile, people didn't think it was possible. But then all of a sudden people started running a 4-minute mile, and they actually got it down below that. So imagine if that would have happened in this time that we are basically losing trust in everything and we're questioning everything. If somebody got that on film, the amount of people that would be out there questioning the fact that, is this even real? It's impossible for a human to run a 4-minute mile, so it must be AI. And when you have that mentality, you stop trying. You're like, you know what? It's AI generated. and you just brush it off, and you just assume that if somebody runs a 4-minute mile, if somebody does something that is outside of your beliefs, then it must be fake. And imagine how much this is going to set us back in the future, because right now we're just starting to see the very start of this, where people are questioning whether or not certain things are possible, and even whether or not certain events are actually happening. And that's a big one, because we are literally, most of us are living our lives through our phones. Most of the stuff that we see about the world and about life in general, we are seeing that through a screen, because most of us keep our face stuck in our phones, in social media, most of the day. And that is becoming our reality. And that is very, very terrifying, because that is going to make us lose even more trust in everything that we see. And the stuff that we do see, we are questioning because we don't know if it's real life. So if we're living our lives in our phones, and that's our new reality, how much of that reality is going to be true? How much of it is going to be fake? How much of it can we trust? These are all questions that we need to start asking ourselves, and I think that we kind of already have, and I think this is the result of that. But that's a very bad thing and a really tough position to put ourselves in, because what about all the things that are actually true, that could benefit us? Does losing trust in those things mean that we're not going to reap those benefits? Does it mean that we're going to automatically dismiss potential opportunities that could actually be beneficial? Are we going to lose out on all that just because we're questioning everything and we can't trust anything that we see? And the way I see it is that this is eventually going to make us lose trust in our own abilities. We're not going to trust that we're even capable of doing things, because everything that we see we're going to believe is fake. And I really believe that's going to cause us to regress. And AI is a big driving factor behind that right now. And we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg on this. I think this is going to get substantially worse and substantially more profound as the days go by. Not even the years, but the days, because this is all progressing at extremely fast rates that we can't even comprehend. And I think things are changing so fast that's why we're coming to these conclusions, because we can't wrap our head around this rapid change. If you think about our lives throughout all of history, it's pretty much been a very gradual change. It's been like stepping stones, and now we've been thrown off a cliff into this new reality that we are living in. And it's really hard for us to comprehend and wrap our head around. Justifiably so, because things have gotten extremely weird. Tying it back to where this all started, things are very, very strange, and it's mostly because of technology, and specifically now AI. And really thinking about this, if you think about us losing trust in our own abilities, that is essentially going to allow AI to become the dominant species on the planet. If you really think about that, we talk about AI replacing us and taking over the world. That's a way of allowing this to happen. Because if we don't believe we're capable of something because it seems too outlandish or obscure, or it simply doesn't seem possible because it challenges our beliefs, then we relinquish that ability to even try. And AI is 100% going to step in and take that over, because AI is probably going to be able to do it. So when you think about that, that is us essentially swinging the door open and allowing AI to come in and replace us. Not only asking for it, because we are asking for it, we're instigating it, because so many of us are using it and we think it's so amazing because it can do all these really cool things. But by us losing trust and losing faith in all these things around us, that is us giving AI permission to take over, to take our jobs, to take our reality from us, and to essentially become the dominant species on this planet. And you know it's getting really bad, or maybe really good, depending on how you look at it, when you can't distinguish the difference between AI and real life. And if you think about AI just 2 years ago, it wasn't that good. It was very easy to tell that things were AI generated, but now it's really hard to tell the difference. And if you think about how fast things have progressed just within the last couple of years, imagine what it's going to look like a year from now or 2 years from now. It's going to be impossible to tell the difference. And that means that we're going to lose even more trust in everything that we see. We're going to lose trust in reality, and we're going to be questioning everything. We're going to be losing faith in everything. We're not going to believe that any of the things that we see are actually possible or are actually happening. And imagine what that means for the news, for the media, any kind of story, narrative, or agenda they want to push. it would be very easy for somebody to just fabricate that story and make it so believable and so indistinguishable from real life that no one even does question it. That it's just so real and it's so in your face that people actually believe these things are happening. And think about the amount of control, division, and manipulation that could be injected into our society without us even realizing it. So maybe it actually is a good thing that we're questioning our reality, because maybe that is actually a natural biological defense mechanism. That's our body's way or our mind's way of telling us we need to slow down. We need to question this because there's a pretty good chance that what we're seeing is not real. And there's also a pretty good chance that what we're seeing is going to eventually do us harm. So what is the solution to this? How do we combat this, and where do we go from here? This is where I think it's amazing, because I think the answer is very, very simple. And I believe it's as simple as getting away from technology as much as we possibly can. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that AI is coming. There's nothing we can do to stop it. It's here to stay. So it's going to behoove us to learn how to coexist. That is going to be fundamentally important. And the way we do that is stepping foot outdoors, is actually going out into the real world and experiencing the world around us, seeing things for what they really are. And the best way to do that is to see them with your own two eyes. Because right now we're at the point where we don't believe what we're actually seeing. So we have to get back to believing the reality that we see. And the only way to do that is to see it without a lens. If you've never traveled and you've never experienced different parts of the country or different parts of the world, this would be a prime opportunity to do that. That way you can ground yourself in reality and see that the world actually does have things that might challenge your beliefs. But to do this, I don't even think you need to travel. I just think you need to make time for yourself outside of the internet, outside of social media, outside of your phone, and step foot outdoors. There are parks, there's nature all around us. Immerse yourself in that. Every single day that goes by, it is going to become increasingly more important to do this as often as possible, because AI, as it progresses and as it develops, it's going to seep even more into our lives. And if we don't recognize this and start taking steps now to mitigate the impacts that it's going to have on us, then our future is going to look very bleak. We are going to put ourselves in a position where we're going to lose faith, even more faith, in humanity. And one aspect that I believe is going to be fundamentally important is getting back to physical interaction, getting back to talking to people person to person, not through our screens, not through social media, not through our phones. And I know that's a big ask. That's going to be very tough for a lot of people, because the fact of the matter is, a lot of people these days simply aren't worth it. But we have to keep trying, because if we give that up, and our main mode of communication is now through phones and social media and through the screen, we're going to lose complete trust in our fellow man. And the result from that is that we are 100% divided. And when we're divided, that is when we fall. We cannot progress. We cannot continue with all of this division. And I can't help but think that AI is going to sow much more division, because again, it's causing us to question everything, including the people around us. And with that said, it's going to be important to embrace AI. We're going to be forced into using it, because it's going to creep its way into our jobs, into our careers, and probably into just about every facet of our lives. But knowing that, that is also why it's going to be even more important to distance ourselves from it when we can, wherever possible. Because if we don't, just like I mentioned before, we're opening that door. We're allowing it to come in and have dominion over us. We're allowing it to replace us. And is that where all this ends? Is that what we really want? Do we want technology and AI and all these things that are being pumped into our daily lives? Do we really want that to replace this? Personally, I don't, and I won't. I refuse to let that become my reality, and I'm going to take every step that I possibly can to mitigate that as much as possible.